Hello students, welcome to NJC Learning. Today we will study English poem 2.3 The Inchcape Rock by Robert Southey. Robert Southey was an English poet of the Romantic school. He was one of the Lake poets along with William Wordsworth and Samuel Taylor Coleridge. He was also England's poet laureate for 30 years from 1813 until his death in 1843. The Inchcape Rock is a ballad written by English poet Robert Southey, published in 1802. Students, ballad is a poem or a song which means the story is depicted in short stanzas. This poem tells the story of a 14th century attempt by the Abbot of Aberbrothock to install a warning bell on Inchcape Rock, a notorious sandstone reef about 11 miles, that is 18 kilometers, off the east coast of Scotland. The poem tells how the bell was removed by a pirate who subsequently perished on the reef. It means he died while returning to Scotland in bad weather sometime later. Like many of Southey's Like many of Southey's ballads, the Inchcape Rock describes a supernatural event, but its basic theme is that those who do bad things will ultimately be punished accordingly. Students, now let's move towards stanzas. No stir in the air, no stir in the sea. The ship was as still as she could be. Her sails from heaven received no motion, her keel was steady in the ocean. Without either sign or sound of their shock, the waves flowed over the Inchcape Rock. So little they rose, so little they fell, they did not move the Inchcape bell. The Abbot of Aberbrothock had placed that bell on the Inchcape Rock. On a buoy, in the storm it floated and swung, and over the waves its warning rung. When the rock was hid by the surge's swell, the mariners heard the warning bell, and then they knew the perilous rock and blessed the Abbot of Aberbrothock. Let's move towards the explanation. The first stanza is used by the poet to describe the situation of the sea, which was calm without much movement, and the ship of the pirate that was also steady and motionless due to the absence of waves in the sea and speedy winds in the air. The second stanza tells us that the waves flowing over the Inchcape Rock were weak and powerless, so much that they failed to move the Inchcape bell. The third stanza is about the history of the bell which was placed on the Inchcape Rock. It tells us that the bell was placed by the Abbot of Aberbrothock. Abbot means student's head priest, so as to warn the sailors of the presence of the Inchcape Rock and to prevent crashes and collisions. Whenever the water level was high and the Inchcape Rock was submerged underwater, the bell used to ring and warn the sailors of the danger ahead. This way, whenever a sailor was saved due to the warning of the bell, he would bless the Abbot of Aberbrothock for his sense of generosity. Students, let's move towards stanza 5. The sun in heaven was shining gay, all things were joyful on that day. The seabirds screamed as they wheeled around, and there were joyance in their sound. The buoy of the Inchcape bell was seen, a darker speck on the ocean green. Sir Ralph the rover walked his deck, and he fixed his eye on the darker speck. He felt the cheering power of spring. It made him whistle, it made him sing. His heart was mirthful to access, but the rover's mirth was wickedness. His eye was on the Inchcape float. Quoth he, "My men, put out the boat, and row me to the Inchcape rock, and I'll plague the abbot of Aberbrothock." Let's see the explanation. In the fifth stanza, the poet returns back to the present after having given us a brief history of the bell on the Inchcape rock. He now describes the present day as a sunny and joyful day when all things are pleasant. The birds are flying around happily. The whole environment is filled with joy. The black boy, which we can see in the picture, was looking prominent amidst the green looking ocean. The pirate, Sir Ralph the Rover, was walking on the deck of his ship when he caught the glance of the black Inchcape boy Ben. He felt the cheerfulness of the spring season. Spring season means, students, when the climate is very warm and pleasant, and an extreme sense of joy and excitement arose in his heart. But this joy and excitement was evil and wicked. He ordered his men to release the boat attached to their ship and take him to the Inchcape Bell. He wanted to cause distress. Distress means pain, suffering, sadness to Abbot of Aberbrothock. Let's move towards stanza 9. The boat is lowered, the boatmen row, and to the Inchcape rock they go. Sir Ralph bent over from the boat, and he cut the bell from the Inchcape float. Down sunk the bell with a gurgling sound. The bubbles rose and burst around. Quoth Sir Ralph, "The next who comes to the rock won't bless the abbot of Aberbrothock." Sir Ralph the Rover sailed away. He scoured the seas for many a day, and now grown rich with plundered store, he steers his course for Scotland's shore. So thick a haze overspreads the sky, they cannot see the sun on high. The wind hath blown a gale all day, at evening it hath died away. Let's move towards the explanation of stanza 9. His men hopped into the boat with him and set for the Inchcape Bell. When they reached, the pirate bent over from the boat and cut the rope tied to the bell. The bell fell into the water. Bubbles emerged as it fell. The pirate, having done his mischief, proved happily that now the bell is gone. No one would thank or bless the abbot of Aberbrothock. He then sailed away and travelled for several days. He grew very rich and wealthy after having robbed and looted many ships. One day, he set for Scotland. Scotland means the place of the Inchcape Bell, where this bell was placed. Once again, he set for Scotland Bell once again. The atmosphere was filled with haze. The sun had set as the day was about to give into the night. The wind had blown very furiously that day, but it settled as the night approached. Students, let's move to stanza 13. On the deck the rover takes his stand. So dark it is they see no land. Quoth Sir Ralph, "It will be lighter soon, for there is the dawn of the rising moon." "Canst hear," said one, "the breakers roar? For methinks we should be near the shore. Now Where we are, I cannot tell, but I wish we could hear the Inchcape bell. They hear no sound, the swell is strong. Though the wind hath fallen, they drift along, till the vessel strikes with a shivering shock. O Christ, it is the Inchcape rock. Sir Ralph the Rover tore his hair. He cursed himself in his despair. The waves rush in every side. The ship is sinking beneath the tide. Let us look towards the explanation. The pirate stood on the ship deck looking around, but he could not see anything because it was all dark and unclear. He told his men that eventually the moon would appear soon and they would be able to see because of the moonlight. A man asked if anyone could hear the breaker waves, it means the shore waves, as he thought they were near the shore. No one could locate their ship. They wished the Inchcape bell was present to guide them and warn them about the Inchcape rock. The ocean level was high. They could not hear anything and their boat was drifting along due to the wind. Suddenly, they were shaken by a very strong shock. They realized they had collided into the Inchcape rock. Sir Ralph the Rover felt disappointed and scratched his head as an expression of agony, as an expression of pain, suffering. He was despaired. He lost all his hopes as the boat started to sink due to water rushing in through the cracks and fractures. Students, let's move towards stanza 17. But even in his dying fear, one dreadful sound could the rover hear, a sound as if it with the Inchcape bell. The devil below was ringing his knell. Explanation. As the boat sank and the pirate neared his death, he could hear only one sound, that was the ringing of a bell. This ringing was extremely similar to the Inchcape bell. He felt as if the devil below was ringing a bell, signaling his death. This way, students, justice came down upon the pirate and he was punished. Lesson learned. The poet sends out a fundamental yet unique message through the poem that boosts the morale of the readers. It tells us that justice always prevails, that justice will always win, it always wins. Everyone will have their deeds compensated. That is why we must lead pious and ethical lives, means honest lives. We must also make sure that we commit no sin and treat everyone fairly as we would want to be treated in the same way. Let's look towards the moral of the poem. The moral is, as you sow, so shall you reap. Next moral is, what you do not want done to yourself, do not do to others. Hope students you all have understood the poem. Thank you.